and what are the numbers that you should be using to cut down in weight or bulk up. Alright guys, welcome to another video. Today we're going to be going over your macronutrients and how to find them, whether you want to cut down in weight or bulk up in weight. So we're going to show you how to find those numbers, which numbers to use, and yeah, we'll get right into it here. So with maintenance calories, your maintenance calories are the calories that you're intaking to basically maintain the weight that you're at. So 180 pounds, that'd be my weight for example. My maintenance calories is the amount of calories I'm taking in to stay at 180 pounds. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to find your maintenance calories, and in order to find your maintenance calories, you need your body weight. So I'll use myself as an example. So we'll say I weigh 180 pounds. So that's my body weight, and in order to find the maintenance calories, you want to multiply it by a range of numbers. So you go by either 14, 15, or 16. So that'll be your range. So if you multiply your body weight by 14, this will be like your less active people, or like if, you know, for work you're sitting at a desk job, so you're not moving around as much, you're not getting as many steps in. 16 is where, you know, where you're more active, and like your job requires you to walk around a lot more, so you get your steps in, you walk around for work. And then 15 kind of, you know, self-explanatory, kind of in between those two. So personally myself, I do consider myself very active. You know, I go to the gym 5 times a week, and for work I do a lot of walking around. So I would throw myself around the 16 mark. So I go 180 pounds times 16, and that gives me 2,880. So these are my calories. This 2,880 is my maintenance calories to stay at 180 pounds. So here I have my maintenance calories here, so 2,880 calories, and that's to stay at 180 pounds. But with cutting and bulking, what you want to do is you either want to increase this number if you're going to bulk, or reduce the number if you're going to cut. So when we're talking about cutting here, in 1 pound of body fat, there is 3,500 calories. So per pound of body fat, there's 3,500 calories, and in order to lose weight in a healthy way, you want to lose a pound per week. So if you take 3,500 calories, divide that by 7 being 7 days of the week, that would equal 500. So that's 500 calories that you want to lose per day in order to be in a caloric deficit. So you take 500 calories away from 2,880 calories. So we're gonna take that minus 500, so that being 380. So these would be my cutting calories essentially. So these are the calories that I would be taking in to be able to lose 1 pound of body weight per week. So it's the same idea when you're bulking. So instead of subtracting 500 calories, you want to add 500 calories. So you take your maintenance and then you add 500, and so that would give you 3,380 calories. So this would be my number of calories that I'm trying to hit per day in order to be in a caloric surplus. So for the sake of this video, I'm going to talk about cutting down in weight and losing a pound of body fat per week. So now that we have our cutting number, like the 2,380 calories to cut down, we have to break that down into our macronutrients. And so those are as follows. So you have your protein, your fat, and your carbs. And so with protein, there are 4 calories per gram of protein. So for example, if I had a gram of protein in my hand, that would be 4 calories. Same goes for fats. If I had a gram of fat in my hand, that would be 9 calories, and carbs as well. And so that we have our number here. So we have the 2,380. Again, we got that from subtracting 500 from my maintenance calories. So we have that there. So I'm going to show you how to find your proteins right now. So your proteins, essentially, like the golden rule / rule of thumb to find your protein is to go 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So say I weigh 180 pounds, I would be taking in 180 grams of protein per day. And so that's, again, like I said, rule of thumb, that's the most general rule. but there is also a range that you can go along. So if you go your body weight times 0.75 to 1.25, and so the range that I've written down here is with 0.75, these people are going to be like a little bit higher in fat on their body. So higher fat, these people are going to be like more of a beginner to training and just a little less active than most. And then if you multiply your body weight by 1.25, these people are going to be, you know, like very lean, and very close to like competition date. So if these people are competing, this is the number that they're going to use to find the amount of protein that they should be taking closer to their competition date. So for myself, with finding the protein, I just put myself right at that 1 pound or 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So I just wrote down here 180 grams of protein for myself personally. Now we're going to show you how to find your fats. So when you're looking for your fat, there's also another range here. So you can go your body weight times 0.3 to 0.4. And so when you're finding your fat, you got to think about whether, like, you want to think about what kind of food you enjoy more personally. So whether you enjoy carbs more, like breads, pastas, rices, as opposed to your fat, so like nuts, spreads, anything of that nature. If you are more of a carb person, you want to use that 0.3 number. But if you are more of a fat person, that you enjoy your nuts, you enjoy the spreads and butters and whatnot, you want to use that 0.4 number. For myself personally, I know that I really enjoy my carbs. I love my breads, I love my pastas and rice, so I'm going to use the 0.3 number. So again, I get my body weight here, times 0.3, and then that calculation, we'll put it in right here, times 3, that equals 54 grams of fat. And so this personally will be my number of fats that I want to take in per day. So now the last macronutrient you need to find are your carbs. And so this is where your protein and your fats will come into play. So we have these numbers here off to the side. And remember how I said earlier on in the video, with a gram of fat, there will be 9 calories per gram of fat, and then 4 grams, or 1 gram of protein will have 4 calories. And so that will also come into play here. So you take your fats, so the 54 coming from the 54 grams of fat here, times the 9, so the 9 being the amount of calories per gram of fat, plus protein, 180 times, again, 4, plus a number which we do not have, times 4. Again, this being the carb, so 4 calories per gram of carb. And so we're gonna put these numbers in right here. 4 times 9, so this 486. This 80 times 4. 720, and so we're adding these two numbers here, which would be 1,206. And so you take your number at 1,206 and you subtract 2,380 calories from this number. Again, 2,380 calories are the amount of calories that you need to be taking in to be cutting down weight. And so we'll take that here. So 2,380 minus 1,206. So that will give you, 1,174. And you take 1,174 divided by 4, because the 4 comes from the amount of calories per gram of carb. So you take 1174 divided by 4, which equals to 293.5, but just for convenience sake, 293 grams of carbs. So there we have it. These are all the macronutrients that we have down. So the protein, 180 grams, fat, 54 grams, and your carbs, 293 grams. And so again, this is to cut down It is the same process if you want to bulk up. You're just trying to hit a different number here. And again, that instead of subtracting the 500 from here, you were to add the 500. So now that you have your numbers, your macronutrients, your proteins, fats, and carbs, you want to put these numbers into action. So what you want to do is you want to download MyFitnessPal. So this is just an app on your phone, and if you use MyFitnessPal, you can scan barcodes on anything, and you can go ahead and search for anything. Like if you have a Rice Krispie or whatever, you can scan the barcode on the Rice Krispie, and it'll show you all the fats, proteins, and carbs that's in that Rice Krispie. Or if you just look it up, Rice Krispie in the search bar, you'll be able to find it there. And so that way you can track all the food that you're eating throughout the day. Another important thing about when you're tracking all your food is you want to make sure you're weighing your food. Because when you go online and you go onto MyFitnessPal and say you have like a serving of rice and you have 30 grams of rice, you want to make sure that you're actually getting your 30 grams of rice. So if you get yourself a food scale, you just throw your bowl on there and then calculate how many grams of rice that you have on your bowl there. And that way you can keep track of how much food that you're actually taking in. Okay, now I'm just going to go over some of the tips that I have when cutting. I've done this a couple years now, and so these are what's really helped me out and make sure that I have successfully cut down in weight. And so my first tip is going to be use egg whites. So with egg whites, it's basically all protein. So it's essentially obviously the whites of the eggs just without the yolk. And so the yolk is where most of the fat is contained in an egg. So if you're using egg whites, it's mainly just protein. So utilize those to your advantage and incorporate those into your meals. And when you're cooking, try to use PAM. So this is just like a cooking spray. And so this is a better alternative as opposed to olive oil or butter or anything like that, because those are obviously super high in fats. PAM, there's barely anything on there. There is 0.5 grams of fat per half a second of a spray. So it's your judgment whatever half a second of a spray is, but there's a lot less in there than there is in butter and in olive oil. Next, you want to make sure that you're getting in your fibers, and you can get your fibers in through your vegetables. This is important because if you don't get enough of your fiber in, you're going to end up getting constipated and uncomfortable, and that's not what you want. Next thing that you want to make sure that you utilize and abuse is making sure that you're drinking a lot of water. So drinking a lot of water is going to help you feel full, as well as with soda waters, that'll help to make you feel full as well. It'll bloat you a little bit, but it will prevent you from being as hungry, as well as diet pops. I wouldn't recommend going with diet pops, but that is another alternative that you can use. And my last tip is going to be volume eating. And so what I mean by volume eating is having like a salad as opposed to, something that's like super heavy and super dense. With salads, you can throw a whole bunch of stuff in there and still feel full. You can have a big bowl of salad with a bunch of lettuce in there, a bunch of veggies, tomatoes, whatever you want to throw in there, and it'll still be the same amount of calories in that big bowl of cereal as opposed to if you were to have like a bowl of rice and chicken. There's a lot more in that bowl of salad, but you're still getting the same amount of calories. So those are just my tips. These are the tips that I've utilized throughout the last couple of years to ensure that I've had a successful cut. Everybody's body's different. Experiment with a few things, try these out, maybe they'll work for you, but this is what's worked for me, and yeah, give it a shot. So now I'm gonna go over some bulking tips, which I'm currently doing. I'm currently bulking right now, and so these are a few of the things that I'm doing to ensure that I'm having a successful bulk. So the first tip I have is whole foods versus mass gainer. So a mass gainer is essentially a supplement to take if you can't get in all the whole foods throughout the day. So for example, I have a bag of mass gainer here. I have this bag here of mass gainer, and so I use this when I don't have enough time to get my food in throughout the day. If I didn't eat enough throughout the day, then I'll pack a shake and I'll bring it to work and I'll drink that during my shift. But I wouldn't recommend utilizing the mass gainer as your whole food. If you can fit whole foods into your day, then I'd recommend doing that versus mass gainer. Use a mass gainer as your kind of last resort, or if you don't have any time, or if you're desperate. Next tip I have is utilize bagels, pastas, and peanut butter. So bagels and pastas are super heavy and super dense, and those are what I try to eat throughout the day, and those are super high in calories. I'm allergic to peanut butter personally, so I don't use peanut butter, but I do have pea butter, and so it's essentially the same thing, it's just an alternative. And so that one's high in fat, and so I make sure I get my fats through the pea butter. Next tip is you want to make sure that you hit the gym hard. So when you look at the gym as opposed from cutting and bulking, when you're cutting, it is super hard to get your energy levels up and go to the gym and motivate yourself to hit the gym hard. When you're bulking, you've got a ton of food and you got a ton of sustenance in your body to be able to go to the gym. So when you're going, you have to hit it hard. And again, volume eating. So I know I talked about it with cutting, but with bulking, you kind of do a reverse of what you would be doing with cutting. So with volume eating, when you're bulking is, for example, when you have that mass gainer shake, you know, throw some peanut butter in there, throw some pea butter in there, or throw a little bit of berries in there or whatever. Just add some more sustenance to the shake in order to get more volume out of it. So these are just some more general tips that I wanted to mention to ensure that you guys are making sure that you're staying on track. So with weekly weigh-ins or daily weigh-ins, this is super important just to make sure that these numbers that you have come up with are working for you. So you want to make sure that you're checking your weight weekly or even daily. But if you are going to weigh yourself daily, you need to understand that weight will fluctuate. So your weight will fluctuate overnight in a couple days. Like you'll weigh a lot lighter one day and then weigh a little heavier the next day. And that's okay, that's totally fine, it's totally normal. Just don't get frustrated when you see that number change on the scale. But you need to make sure also that when you are taking these weigh-ins, that you're tracking them, because if you notice that the numbers aren't moving or changing, you need to reevaluate. And so what I mean by reevaluate is you want to reevaluate these numbers. Primarily, it's going to be the carbs that you want to reevaluate. But so if that's not happening, it's not changing, then make sure that you're looking back and making sure that you're actually hitting these numbers. Or if you are actually hitting these numbers, then you might have to change the numbers in order to have a successful cut. Okay, I'm now recording this the next day. I recorded this video yesterday with my buddy Kieran, and I didn't properly close out the video, so I just wanted to jump on here and say thank you for watching. I hope you took something away from this video. I hope that my tips were helpful and that you're able to find your macros for cutting and bulking. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below and hit the like button, and I'll see you in the next one here.